Hey, what is up, everybody? This is your boy AJTRIP, and welcome to That to Shoot, a weekly episodic show about talking what's going on in the world of professional wrestling. And there was a lot going on this week. If you seen my video yesterday, it's just a pimple on the ass of this week of what is going down. This man stepping down as CEO and chairman of WWE and Stephanie McMahon being named interim. That was a shocking surprise yesterday. But let's talk about some of the other things that happened this week in wrestling. So earlier this week, Jeff Hardy got himself in trouble once again uh, after driving drunk and being arrested for it, along with many other things. So let's read this. It's from Deadline.com. This is Tom Tapp. Wrestler Jeff Hardy suspended by AEW after DUI arrest faces felony charge. So let's go ahead and read this. Former WWE champion and newish star to the Turner Network's All Elite Wrestling franchise, Jeff Hardy was arrested on a drunk driving charge in Volusia County, Florida, on Monday night. The Daytona Beach News Journal reported that Hardy, 44, was also charged with driving on a suspended license and violating a restriction which required him to have a DUI interlock device in his vehicle. It is reportedly Hardy's third drunk driving arrest in the past 10 years and a third-degree felony. The news prompted AEW president and CEO Tony Khan to speak out. "We were able to resume contact with Jeff Hardy this afternoon," Khan tweeted. AEW did not condone Jeff's alleged behavior. Khan announced there would be repercussions. "We made it clear to Jeff that we will assist him in getting treatment for a substance abuse issue, which he has indicated that he is open to receiving. In the interim, he is suspended without pay, and he can only return to AEW upon successfully completing treatment and maintaining his sobriety." The Associated Press reported that Hardy was released on a $3,500 bond. All Elite Wrestling is the second largest wrestling. All Elite Wrestling is the second largest wrestling. It should be a company. It says promoter. Wrestling company in the United States, and the AEW franchise is important to the Turner Networks. AEW Dynamite airs live each week on TBS, while another weekly television program, AEW Rampage, is seen on TNT. So yeah, this was just ridiculous. There was more things in the story where he blew in his breathalyzer test. He blew like three times the limit of of what you're supposed to go, supposed to blow to be considered to be driving drunk. It's it's it is so unreal. There's a lot of things that go on, you could talk about here. The fact that he's once again drinking after so many things, and it's even funny. There was like apparently that night he had did something. He did did an appearance where he even said that whiskey was his best friend and his worst enemy, or something along those lines, right? And it is totally true, apparently, because apparently he was sober then, and then he got drunk and drove. He got a suspended license. Where did he get the car from? That's another question. Where did he get the car from? So like I was asking, where did he get the car from? Who gave him the car? He couldn't have rented it because he has no license. There's a lot of questions to be answered here, and there's a whole bunch of stuff there that is just it's unfathomable. And there was thought back when he first got released by WWE that he was doing something, right? Apparently they drug tested him, and apparently the drug test came back clean. But still, there's got to be something else to that. Maybe he was doing something that would not appear on a drug test, you know, because that could be the only thing, you know, that could be the only thing of why why he's back here. Because if he was straight, he would have been straight for he would continue to be straight. You mean to tell me that he gets away from WWE and then all of a sudden so is that the reason why he got away from WWE? Is that the reason why he would he perpetrated that whatever that was to get out of WWE? Which at some point, well, if you believe if you do believe that he wasn't on anything. That's what he did. He perpetrated a fraud facade so that WWE would release him so he could get away from that. He said in like interviews from the past, that he wanted to leave. He basically said that. So I think you could probably put two and two together and said that he perpetrated a facade. But is that why he perpetrated the facade to leave WWE so that he could go to AEW and start drinking and doing drugs again? I don't know. Addiction is it's a horrible thing, and and unfortunately, Jeff is just one of those people that doesn't seem to be able to kick it, and that's unfortunate because he's one of people's favorite all-time wrestlers, and he's one of people's you know somebody who people want to root for, especially because of this story, but. And then there's maybe some thought that maybe that he's been in so much pain that's what he was doing. He was trying to drink to numb the pain from his body. And hey, listen, he's been 20 years. He's been taking these weird bumps on ladders and tables and high off of things, and who knows what him and his brother Matt have put their bodies through, and a lot of that. Dion Dudley's recently had some surgeries. To put his stuff to. I wouldn't, we know Edge had his neck surgery and he had to retire at one point because of his neck. And we know Christian Christian had concussions, not necessarily a neck injury, but he had concussions, and they seem to have come back from that, and he's now in AEW as well. So it is just is an unfortunate thing that happened. Um, I do find it interesting that again, I don't know. This is just my speculation. I don't know what was happening that day, that night, in that thing with Jeff Hardy. I do kind of feel like maybe he did perpetrate the facade to get away from WWE. Um, but maybe he also was just he was just it. He was just tired, and that could totally be the thing as well. So listen, I'm not sure what it is, and I just hope he can get the stuff he needs to get better. And AEW, they were behind John Moxley. John Moxley went to get his stuff into into a situation, to get him sober, which was really cool. And hopefully that is, you know, and hopefully they can do that with Jeff. And Jeff doesn't need to be, Jeff doesn't need a 30-day rehab stint. He needs to be, this needs to be like a 6-month thing. I don't think Jeff Hardy should wrestle. He should not be seen in AEW the rest of this year. I really don't. Because once he works his program, however many days it is, 30, 60, 90 days, whatever, then he needs to stay. He needs to be, stay sober, like AEW's Tony Khan said, and I would test him every 2 weeks. I would test him every 2 weeks for drugs, and I would, brutalize him and everything like that. And you know, and if he can't stay sober, he really needs to. He needs to be, released, and no one needs to hire him back. It really does. You need to take away one of the biggest things in his life. Because listen, I'm not around them. Obviously, I'm not close with them in any way. I don't know them personally, nothing like that. But I don't know if his family's helping him. I really don't. His brother Matt, his wife, sister-in-law, she put something out on TikTok about it. I don't know if they, I don't know if they are helping him really. So doesn't seem like it, at least. Like I said, I'm not close to that situation. This is just a far away view from it. But yeah, so I can only hope that Jeff for the best, and hope he gets his life together. So something else that happened this week. Raj Giri of WrestlingInc.com reported that Sasha Banks had been released from WWE. Now, no other people have been able to um, confirm that. But here's something from CageSideSeats.com. Uh, they have the latest on the Sasha Banks release from WWE. This was a couple days ago, Thursday, in fact. Sasha Banks and Naomi walked out of WWE Raw on May 16th, exactly 1 month ago today. WWE indefinitely suspended both women and buried them on air for their unprofessional behavior. There hasn't been much of a response coming from Sasha or Naomi's camp to this story since then. The story heated back up yesterday when Wrestling Inc.'s Raj Giri said he heard WWE release Sasha Banks. However, Fightful's Sean Ross Sapp couldn't confirm her release with his sources. The newest wrinkle on the story comes today from Mcmahon's Andrew Zarian. He could not confirm Sasha's release, but he did hear that it was recently being worked on by her legal team. Quote, I cannot confirm that she's released, but I did hear late last week that her attorneys were working on getting this done. Zarian said WWE isn't happy about the situation, but the company ultimately views her as just a spoke on the wheel. Quote, in their mind, they could clone Sasha with somebody else and have her fill that role, and no problem. It is not a role that you are playing. It is a role with mid-level actors. Everybody is a mid-level actor except for a Roman Reigns, a Brock Lesnar, or a Cody Rhodes. Those guys are the stars. Unquote. Of course, this description of Sasha as an easily replaced performer sounds ridiculous on its face. No, it doesn't. It is true. But WWE never booked her as a leading star in the main roster women's division. So it could be very true that they never accurately evaluated her star power. No, they did. When pressed on the probability of Banks' return to WWE, Zarian reiterated that it won't be happening. No, I don't see Sasha going back right now. So there you have it, Cage Siders. What do you think is next for Banks' wrestling or entertainment career? So, first of all, I've said this before, and I'll say this again. Sasha Banks and Naomi are replaceable. They just are. You two women on that roster in NXT that could, and out there on free agency that could fill those roles. They are correct. Here are the people who are unreplaceable: Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, Charlotte Flair, Cody Rhodes, and to a certain lesser extent, Seth Rollins, Becky Lynch, and Ronda Rousey. Those are the 7 people who you can't replace in WWE. Every play. Those are your stars, the star power. Sasha Banks is replaced. I've said this before, I'll say this again. The reason why Mercedes Varnado is, you know, doing things for the national championship game, you know, opens, or is on the Mandalorian, or is working with Kevin Hart, or is doing this, or is doing that. It's because of WWE, not because of her. And Sasha Banks is owned to WWE. And again, I said this also. Do you really think that when and if she gets released, do you really think Mercedes Varnado is going to be a name people want? No, they want Sasha Banks. They don't want Mercedes Varnado. Because they know that WWE is going to promote the hell out of it, and WWE people are going to watch it. Because before Sasha Banks, they're not going to watch it for Mercedes Varnado. So sick and tired. It is okay to like people, you know, something like that. And like, I'm trying to figure out who is someone lesser that I like. Um, I'm really liking Riddick Moss, Madcap Moss right now. I like the fact what they're doing. They're doing the same thing. They're kind of doing the same thing with him. They're doing with Cody. He's beat Baron Corbin 3 straight times. 3 straight times, Madcap Moss has beat Baron Corbin. This past, last night on SmackDown, kind of beat him definitively. Hit 2 finishes on the 1, 2, 3. Got the last laugh on Baron Corbin. I like what they're doing with Madcap Moss. That doesn't mean that Madcap Moss is gonna go and be some star on a little TV show or anything like that. No, hell no. Same thing for Gunther. I like Gunther. Doesn't mean he's gonna go out and be a star. So when he goes, if he would leave WWE, do he release him, and they go and he goes somewhere else? He's not gonna be a star doing commercials. Kevin Hart gonna want to be doing. He's gonna be doing that now. That's not how it works. And the same thing goes for Sasha Banks. She's not. She may be part of 4 horsewomen, but obviously the people who have come out of that is Charlotte Flair 1 and Becky Lynch 2. So I don't think that Sasha Banks has anything, in the future happening for her. I really don't. I don't see it. So, not So, and I think here, with this report, and these reports coming out about this, I think I'm totally fine with this because I said this when it happened. They needed to let her go because she's done this twice now. She's done this twice now where she hasn't liked something that the WWE has done and she's walked away. You know, they said they were gonna give her and Bayley a long run with the women's tag titles. She lost in the WrestleMania to the Iconics. Yeah, I forget a 4-way. Her and Bayley were backstage crying and crying over it and making, like a baby all over it on the floor, throwing temper tantrums. And then she walked away. At least Bayley stayed. She was rewarded with her staying. She wanted Money in the Bank, cashed in on Charlotte Flair, became the SmackDown Women's Champion. Sasha, no. She cried in mine, did this, and it's really it comes down to the fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. WWE should not get fooled twice. And I hope that's what happens. I hope that she is being let go. I hope that is what is. I'm sorry I thought somebody knocking on my window. Sorry about that. I hope she's being let go. And and like I said a couple weeks ago as well, with Naomi, she put something out on Twitter, and I don't know what it was. It was her, all these quotes and everything like that. Whatever. She's married to Jimmy Uso. So by marriage, she's part of she could be a part of the bloodline. So for that reason only, I'm okay with them keeping Naomi. But they would have let her go too. That's fine. You know, there was a report that both Sasha and Naomi's contracts were coming up in the next couple of months, and I thought that the best thing would be maybe just to let their contracts expire. You know, while they were on suspension. Maybe you know Sasha was so maybe the 90-day compete clause, right? The 90-day compete clause goes, is longer than when she would, or shorter. I should say, it's shorter than when her contract would expire. Right? They said a couple of months, but maybe in actuality, her contract expires maybe like October, November, something like that. Um, and that would be way longer than just the 90 days. So if you get released right now in 90 days, or maybe even what they're trying to do is they're trying to do this thing where she doesn't get the 90-day, the 90-day thing. Maybe that's why they are, talking. Her and the lawyers are talking about that right now. So, and again, it's just WWE will be fine without Sasha Banks. I don't think Sasha Banks, Mercedes Renardo, would be fine without WWE. Because I've said this as well many times. The people who have been released by WWE are in the same spot or worse than they were when they left, when they were released. The only one you can say hasn't is Matt Cardona, who's like the NWA World Heavyweight Champion, and good for Zack Ryder. Maybe the only one, but everybody else is in the lower spot or no or more. That's the truth. That's not the truth. And I think some of them are actually realizing that. I've seen a couple of a couple of tweets from and a couple of moments from Cash Wheeler, or former Dash Wilder of the Revival FTR. He has he is he's put up to a couple of times talking about they have had, like, they've been the number one contender for the AEW tag titles longer than they had the AEW tag champions. They've been the number one contender longer than they had the tag titles. And then he put on the other day that he is like, he's like they're like the number one contenders for the Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor, Triple A, and AEW tag champions. So he's putting out there that he ain't happy. Him and Dax ain't happy about what's going on with them. So, and we've seen Sheeta talk about that they've been left in catering. A lot of people, so, and even though she wasn't a WWE person, but still, I think the biggest thing is to show you that it's not green. The grass isn't as green on the other side as you think. So that's what I would say. So to clear this all up, thank you, Sasha Banks. We wish you your best in your future endeavors. So now the biggest story of the week. Vince McMahon reportedly paid $3 million in hush money to cover up an affair. First reported by the Wall Street Journal Wednesday evening, I think it was. Um, and there have been some reports. Maybe it was even Thursday. Maybe it was even Thursday. I think maybe it came out Thursday, and then there was, of course, stuff that happened yesterday with him stepping down. So, but let's go ahead and talk about this. This is from CNN.com. WWE boss Vince McMahon reportedly paid $3 million in hush money to cover up an affair. Vince McMahon, the CEO of WWE, is being investigated by the company's board for agreeing to pay a secret $3 million settlement to a former employee he allegedly had an affair with, according to a Wall Street Journal report. The separation agreement, which was reportedly made in January, prevents the former unnamed employee from discussing her relationship with Mr. McMahon or disparaging him, according to the journal. The investigation began in April and has unearthed older non-disclosure agreements involving claims for former female WWE employees of misconduct by Mr. McMahon, the journal said. Other misconduct claims were reportedly found against John Laurinaitis, the company's head of television relations. The WWE board was sent an email on March 30th that alleged McMahon, who was 76, hired an employee at a salary of $100,000 but increased it to $200,000 after beginning a sexual relationship with her. The email also alleges that McMahon gave the former employee, who was 41 and was hired as a paralegal, like a toy to Mr. Laurinaitis. The WWE did not immediately return CNN's request for comment on the story. However, in a statement to the Journal, a company spokesperson said that WWE is cooperating with the investigation and that McMahon's relationship to the former employee was consensual. The Journal notes that WWE's board is made up of WWE executives and even members of McMahon's own family. That includes his daughter Stephanie McMahon, as well as Paul Levesque, her husband, and former wrestler who goes by the name Triple H. McMahon has the majority of the shareholders' voting power. McMahon has been an integral part of WWE for decades, both behind the scenes and in the ring. The CEO has helped turn the company into a media powerhouse, which has current deals with Fox and Universal. McMahon has also helped create many famous wrestlers like The Rock, John Cena, Stone Cold Steve Austin, who have become bigger than the WWE itself. Yeah, so it is just wild. So let's try to get into all of this, right? So Vince McMahon he had an affair with a woman who he worked with. He hired apparently he is the article says he hired her at 100K a year, then up to 200K a year, and then after their relationship, he paid her $3 million in hush money to cover up the affair. So here's the big thing, right? This isn't this. It seems to be. See, this isn't bad as a lot of people think, but it is bad. This isn't like the Deshaun Watson situation where he's got 24 lawsuits against him. You talking about sexual assault and things like that. It's not this. But as it says in there, they've uncovered old non-disclosure agreements involving claims by former WWE employees, females, of misconduct by Mr. McMahon, meaning that he could have had a consensual but inappropriate relationships with him. Meaning that again, he could have done the same thing with other women that he did with this woman, meaning that he could have hired this woman, given her $100,000 a year, up to $200,000 a year, started a consensual sexual relationship with her. But then when he was done, paid them off to be quiet about the affair. He could have done this multiple times. That's what's wrong with it. And yes, and while that is wrong, it is not something that he should be like demonized about, because again, we're not talking about sexual assault. Now, at least for right now. Now, something could come up in this investigation where we hear that Vince McMahon forced himself on poor women. Said if blackmailed them, saying that if you don't sleep with me, you're going to lose your job. Things like that. That's where it gets. That's when it would get a little deeper and a lot more serious. Right? This is just serious because I'm just talking about misconduct in the workplace. And this could be, and this could also be a situation where you maybe think where okay, well, even though it's consensual, the woman still feels almost kind of like they have to because Vince is the boss and he's paying the checks. So I felt like but even though it was consensual, I kind of felt like I had to do it because it was Vince McMahon and he was the boss. So there are a lot of situations that come from this. Um, but I don't think is this, I heard somebody today kind of go off on this situation because Vince spoke last night. We'll get to that in a second. And he was spouting off bullshit and upset about it. But this is a guy that hates WWE and he hates Vince McMahon. So, of course, he wasn't going to give Vince McMahon the benefit of the doubt. He wasn't. He never was. So, but, this is what is happening. And, we talked about the reports yesterday of Vince stepping down as CEO and chairman of the WWE. Stephanie McMahon was named interim CEO and chairperson. And Vince McMahon put out said he was going to, agree with whatever the people have, whatever the findings were, whatever they talked about, and everything like that. He was going to be an integral part to this thing. He was going to do what he says. And then it was also said that Mr. McMahon in character was going to be on SmackDown last night talking about this. And they also got the world spinning about what were they going to do? What was this going to be? And he came out last night and he just said that, kind of going for the cheap pop. Hey, I'm glad to be here in front of you guys, to be here in Minnesota. I just wanted to know that we talk about the WWE signature then, now, forever, but the most important thing is together. Welcome to SmackDown, and he went on and they started the show. And I had no problem with it. The reason why I had no problem with it was because, why? Why? Why get upset at that? Why get upset at it? Why? It is a big deal. So he came out there. So what? It was either a ratings play from all the beginning that he wasn't going to come out and talk about the show, and you're going to give the show a bump, right? Or his lawyers or his family people, something like this, said, listen, it's a bad thing to talk about this. Go out there, welcome people to SmackDown, but don't talk about this thing specifically. So, whatever happened, it happened. So what? Why get upset about it? You only get upset about it is if you hate WWE, you hate Vince McMahon. That's the only reason why you would get upset about it. If you're a WWE fan, you could care less. You could really care less. And that's what people need to talk about. They can really care less. So, as for what is for the future, I don't know what to expect. There could be, like I talked about, there could be more worse things to come out from this investigation. There could be nothing else that comes out from this investigation. Or there could be just, or, and I don't think it's going to be, because they said that they're going to do a third party one so that it's not a self investigation. But this could be a cover up. We have to say that as well. This could be a cover up. You never know. And I doubt it. I would think that's a 0.009 or 0.0001% chance of that happening, of this being covered up. But whatever it is, and no matter what happens, whether nothing happens or none of this happens, this could very well mean the end of Vince McMahon as CEO of WWE. Because right now, Stephanie McMahon is interim, but that could mean that she could easily take over and be the full CEO and president. Because back in the steroid trial, Vince McMahon stepped down. Linda McMahon took over as CEO and chairperson. and she had that title until 2009 when she wanted to start to run for Senate, defending the military back over. And I think this, but this man still had his day-to-day job over the creative and everything like that all those years. And I think the same thing could happen here. That nothing happens. Vince stays on as like the head creative, content, and could be still the guy that makes all the decisions, booking the show. But Stephanie becomes the full-time CEO and chairperson of WWE. And personally, I like that because the things I heard about Nick Khan being the one to take over, if when Vince would pass away, I didn't like that. I didn't like that because I really felt like that just fully meant that they were going to start to sell. But I think that Stephanie McMahon taking over, I think that means that once again that it's WWE is going to be in the hands of a McMahon, which is perfect. It should be. It should be in the hands of a McMahon. Stephanie, Shane, their kids, even Triple H, McMahon and Jason. So I like that. And I hope Stephanie retains, no matter what happens. I hope Stephanie retains, but still is the CEO and chairwoman of WWE. I hope she keeps that title for forever, and the WWE stays in the hands of the McMahon family forever. That's where it should be. But yeah, this is like I said, this isn't something that you need to start ranting and raving on the internet about with Vince. But this is something that, as of right now, it's not. But this is something that could get to that level, and this could get very bad for Vince, or this could be as bad as it gets for Vince. And we just have to wait and see how all of this plays out. And I think that's the right thing to do, is stop making judgments about people and judgments about the situation and everything like that. So there you have it. All right, folks, that is it for this week's episode of That's a Shoot. Put your comments down below. Tell me what you guys think. Let me know what you guys think about the Jeff Hardy situation, the Sasha Banks situation, and the Vince McMahon situation. Gonna be back next week with another That's a Shoot. And then in 2 weeks' time, we've got the Money in the Bank, July 2nd, from it was going to be the stadium, Allegiant Stadium, but now it's from like the MGM Stadium or something like that, whatever it is. We got Money in the Bank, so 2 weeks we'll be having the predictions to that. And yeah, should be a very interesting time in wrestling over the next few weeks. This week was incredible. It's just by name another week like it ever. So post your comments down below, tell me what you guys think. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. This is your boy, AJTRIP, signing off. As always, be good to each other, y'all. Be careful out there. And I am out.